Anthony Edwards took the NBA by storm.
Anthony Edwards is out of his mind tonight. This is ridiculous.
Attempt in that first half. Another turnover for Utah. Edwards gets it back and threw it down. And one.
This is what NBA legends actually think about Anthony Edwards. And what Kevin Garnett said about him was so shocking, it left everyone talking. Anthony Edwards was well known for his explosive plays on the court. But on March 18th, during a game between the Utah Jazz and the Minnesota Timberwolves, what Edwards did went so viral, it left the entire arena speechless.
And only had one shot attempt in that first half. Another turnover for Utah. Edwards gets it back and threw it down. And one from the rafters.
This dunk was everywhere, from Twitter to Instagram. Even Uncle Mike heard about it.
Edwards gets it back and threw it down.
Everyone was talking about it. Just hear what KG had to say.
He like a young 84 Jordan, boy. You hear me?
You're going too far.
Listen, Lord, you not watching. That's how I know he not watching the game.
Wow.
That's how I know you not watching the games. Boy, you watching how
84.
I said 84. I'm watching how he coming through the lane. If Cat wasn't on this team, he'd average 30-something. You hear what I'm saying to you? He turned the corner. If you ain't there, he throwing you in. Boy, you ain't watching the game.
Hell no,
See, you ain't watching the game.
Are you saying
like I'm watching the game?
So you saying the way he
okay. So you saying the way he together, man. Man, he turning the corner with intent. He turned the corner and the head up. Man, if you ain't right there, he pogoing your ass.
But not everyone was so quick to hop on the Edwards train. I mean, no did he. You see, Kevin Durant's one of the best players in today's league. So good, he was named the Slim Reaper. But during the 2024 playoffs, KD found out real quick that this kid named Anthony Edwards was no joke. Edwards unleashed the biggest performance of his career on KD,
Durant
beating
trying
the
to guard
Suns
him.
4 games straight.
Edwards around the double team. Got a look. Butter. Ant-Man in full effect.
He's talking some trash to Durant as they're walking right in front of our table.
And you'd think KD would be salty, but what he said after the game let the world know Edwards was up next.
So impressed with Ant. So impressed with Ant. My favorite player to watch. Just grown so much since he came into the league at 22. Just his love for the game just shines bright, and that's something that's one of the reasons why I like him the most, because he just loves basketball. He's grateful to be in this position. He's taking advantage of every opportunity he's gotten. Love everything about Ant. Everything, and be watching him going forward, and you know he's going to go out there and play extremely hard every single night. But was really impressed with him, and it's going to be somebody I'm following for the rest of his career.
Now, getting praised by a legend was already one of Edwards' biggest accomplishments, but once Edwards became an NBA superstar, the two of them became inseparable. From practicing together during warm-ups to doing interviews together, these two were a duo. But not everyone had a good relationship with Edwards. During an interview with the Wall Street Journal, Edwards was asked, how does his generation of basketball compare to the one before him? He said, I didn't watch it back in the day, so I can't speak on it. They say it was tougher back then than it is now, but I don't think anybody had skill back then. Michael Jordan was the only one that really had skill, you know what I mean? So that's why when they saw Kobe, they were like, oh my god. But now everybody has skill. It didn't take long for former NBA players and Hall of Famers like Isaiah Thomas and Magic Johnson to hear about these comments. When asked about these comments, this is what Hall of Famer Magic Johnson had to say.
Said the other day that there really wasn't any skilled players in the NBA back in the day outside of Michael Jordan. That's what he said. Your response to that, Irvin Magic Johnson? Well, you know, I don't never respond to a guy that's never won a championship. There's not nothing to really say. He didn't win a college championship. I don't know if he even won a high school championship.
Damn, Magic, that's cold. But it's definitely not as crazy as what Charles Barkley said about Edwards, because what he said about him had me thinking Edwards might be Black Jesus. Now, honestly, I thought Barkley would hate him. after terrorizing his favorite team and knocking them right out of the playoffs. But for the first time, Barkley chose not to take the petty route. In fact, not only did Barkley say Edwards was a great player, he said Edwards reminded him of two of the greatest basketball players ever.
Watched my sons last night. When I keep saying that, Anthony Edwards was a grown-ass man. You know,
Let me get to Shaq, you said.
No, when Shaq said he loved Anthony Edwards, I'm like, I'm with you, Shaq.
Yeah.
When I saw him on ESPN last night with Anthony, he said, I'm just going to kill everything in front of me, man. It reminded me so much of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. They would kill you to win a game. It's not many players in today's game. Everybody want to be buddy-buddy. My sons, man, clearly it's over. But I'm shocked they're down 3-0. But, man, Anthony Edwards is letting everybody on notice, yeah, I'm not going to wait for y'all to give me anything. I'm going to take it all, and I love it.
Damn, an MVP, an 11-time NBA All-Star, and one of the greatest power forwards in NBA history is saying how great you are at the age of 23. That's how you know Edwards is something special. But what you didn't know is the two NBA players that already believe Edwards is the best basketball player in the league. During the 2023 FIBA World Cup, Team USA received a lot of hate due to their roster being filled with so many young stars and lacking veteran talent like Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and players like James Harden. Surprisingly, Team USA dominated throughout the World Cup before being defeated by Germany in the semifinals. Anthony Edwards emerged as the source of Team USA's success and leader amongst his peers, but it became very clear that Edwards was a superstar in the making. In an upsetting defeat, Edwards still managed to prove to the world why he's regarded as one of the best players in the NBA, and some of his teammates would agree so as well.
What was the Ant experience like then? What is it like now? Can you talk about this? You've known him for a long time, you've been close to him for a long time, but can you talk about where he is now as a player?
Yeah, I mean, the Ant is amazing. Like, the stuff that he does on the floor is ridiculous. Like, that first game against Germany, where he just took over the whole second half, that was like the greatest performance I've ever seen in person. So just to be there with him and see him every day was very special. And it's no surprise that he's doing what he's doing, and it ain't gonna stop for a long time.
Did you realize how good Ant was before playing with him there?
I don't know if I knew he was that good. The Germany game in Abu Dhabi, when he just took over in the second half, I remember he made a baseline fade, like double pump. I don't know what everybody else was thinking at the time, but just like, that might be one of the best shots I've ever seen in person. Like, the degree of difficulty, time and score, all that, for him to, have confidence in himself to shoot that and make that, it was really impressive.
Stephen A. Smith, one of the longest-running NBA analysts, went on live television ranting about how good Edwards was. Smith even revealed the one thing that Edwards did that completely transformed his skills as a basketball player. He subscribed to Hoops. Yeah, that's how he turned into a superstar. So aren't you trying to be like Ant-Man? Come on, man. Subscribe. Anyways, Edwards has become one of the most talked about players in the league, and has even been talked about as the next face of the NBA. But with all that praise Edwards receives, he also receives some love from some of his most respected peers. Just look at what Kyrie had to say.
And you've talked about Ant as being one of those kids with no fear. Yeah. He's on TNT after Game 7 talking about, I got Kyrie. Yeah. What did you think of that matchup and kind of that game within the game?
Yeah, no, as a peer, man, I love that. I love it, man. It's nothing better. When Ant was a little bit younger, I'm sure he was watching me, and when he was in high school, I was watching him. So for me, it's more of those exciting matchups that I look forward to too. Right after the game, it was funny because he said it right then and there, and I think the whole world was looking like, okay, you better know what you're talking about, and I respect that, and that no fear mentality that he has is why I love him as a competitor and why I love him as a person. But when we're on that court, I know he's gonna give his all. I'm gonna give him my all, and at the end of the game, it's all love, and we're in between those lines. He knows what it is, and I know what it is.
So it looks like players around the league are finally realizing Edwards is a superstar, and it makes sense why he's making over $240 million. But have you heard about these NBA players that almost died? One player was stabbed over 8 times. An entire team almost died in a plane crash. Another player was almost eaten alive. And I know you want to hear more about that. So just click this video right here.